All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarah Soon said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to the Sarah Soon said YouTube page, a dynamic page. Y'all know what it is. Black Power, Black Frequency. You feeling that frequency and energy? You should most definitely join the link right down in the video description. It's in the chat room. Click that link. Matter of fact, let me get in there. Let me get in there. Let me get in there. Let me get in there right now this minute. Let me get in there right now this minute. And get that in. Okay, Ray in there. That's all. That's good. What's up? I see family. We got some new family in there. Join. Appreciate them. Appreciate them for being in the house. That's right. We about to drop some heavy mentals, so y'all just hold your horses. Just hold your horses. Well, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it. Let's keep it moving. All right, family. And so here we go, family. Y'all know what it is. The links is right down. And if you want to become a member, the link is right down in the video description. Click that link. It's also in the chat. Brother Ray is putting it in there. Click that link and become a member today. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General Sabra Sunseti, DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor accessories for every room in the house. Kingseti.com, 25% off selected items at this time, family. Pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, SETI University, over 1,200 videos of pure heat and fire presented by General SETI himself, all the subjects that you know and love. Plus, we got the supplemental, also monumental and instrumental research material from the Grandmaster teachers. I give you an overview on that material, giving you 360 degrees of supreme African academic knowledge and wisdom that cannot be surpassed by any other website on the planet. I want you over there today. I want you to become a member today, generalseti.com, SETI University. Everybody know that General SETI popping on Patreon, BPC making noise. We never come. Exclusive live stream, too hot to handle on YouTube. Get over to Patreon. Be amazed at the catalog and the menu, family. You want to be able to access the General live on a platform where I can turn up the heat. To all the family out there that donated to the General, I want to thank you I appreciate you for appreciating me. Any of the family that would like to donate to the General, the link is in the video description, is in the chat. Click that link, donate. I thank you ahead of time. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King SETI, General SETI, Sarasu and SETI. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share with your family and friends and comment, comment, comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Okay. Nah, we talking about again the pyramid of Khufu and matter of fact, let me get the tallest building on earth. The tallest building on earth for over 4,000 years. You see, and so we are talking about a supremacy in wisdom, architectural wisdom and knowledge that still has not been surpassed to this day. Okay? And everybody want to claim it, but they have never produced anything like this in their own land. You see, no man ever builds so great outside of his homeland and don't build at least equal or greater in his own homeland. Don't make no sense. You see, don't make no sense. When you think about and you go around the world, and I give you this all the time. Let me put the great pyramid of Khufu in the house. We need to see that. You see, and then we're gonna talk about what I was talking about earlier. We need to get straight to the point. Let's get straight to the point, fam. Let's get straight to the point with this. We in the no huddle offense today. You feel me? We just dropping straight pure knowledge. We ain't holding it up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Right. Okay. So we talking about the great pyramid, and of Khufu, and this little small statue is what they say is the only statue they got left of the great king. I don't know why that's so. You understand what I'm saying? They probably done stole half of it and put it somewhere. It's beyond me, that such a great megalithic structure, so shocking to the mind, and you cannot find no other statue other than this of the great King Khufu. But we're looking at the pyramid field of Giza, and it is at basically the most northern extremities of up lower Egypt. You almost turning to go out of Africa. You understand what I'm saying? And so this, as you see, as they come down the river, they developed and developed until when they got all the way at the bottom, they had reached primacy. You see what I'm saying? They had reached the pinnacle of that science. Okay. And like I say, we can show all of the development within the heart of Africa. You see, and a lot of people will continue to try to steal our science, but it's been broken down by the grand masters to where you see there is nothing, there's no way that they can steal it from us. Okay. Matter of fact, let me get that pyramid. Yeah. That wind blowing up tonight, ain't it? Yeah, that wind blowing. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're in the house. We in the house. So when we talk about all the pyramid fields, and we dealing with Giza, but we want to deal with all the pyramid fields. And so when you look at now, Giza is the most, when you look at Abu Rowash, that's Arab. That pyramid was supposedly one of Khufu's sons, Jetfrey. Jetfrey. So I believe that's who that is. So that should be included with Giza. That was one of Khufu's sons. Okay. And so you can see that all the pyramid fields are south of Giza. Okay. Showing you, and a lot of those were the failure. Some of them were failures. I won't say failure, but you see, it was the development stage. You see, you had your mistakes in the South. You see, so you got all, and you got Zayed, Aryan. I see, and a lot of those are Arab names. And so Abu Sir, you got Abu Ghurab, you got Memphis, you got Saqqara, you got Dashur, you got El Lis. And so these are all pyramid fields. They're all to the south of Giza. Why do I highlight Giza? Giza is the pinnacle. You see all of the failures, and the development stage is south of Giza, coming from the south, coming with the flow of the river. Okay. And so, we're going to look at some of the development so we can prove, because if you're saying it's coming from the outside, then all of the development stages, all of the failures should be north of Giza, not south. It should be north of Giza, coming in from what today we call the Middle East, what we call Arabia, and so on and so forth. That's where the development should be coming from. It should not be coming from the south of Giza. It should be coming from the north of Giza. Okay, I want to be clear about that. And so let me get over here to this pyramid, so we can drop this heavy metal. Now, when you look and understand what the pyramids are and what they're symbolically trying to duplicate, our people coming from the south coming. And when you go to the south of Egypt, Sudan, do you know when you start going up the river, going into the interior of Africa, you're going into the highlands. Egypt, Sudan is basically lowland Africa. When you start heading up the river and you going into Sudan, you get into Ethiopia, man, you is touching the sky. You are in the highlands of Africa. And so when I say high, you're in the mountains. You see, you're in the interior, you're in the mountain, you're in the high regions, you're in the highlands. And so, a lot of volcanoes and a lot of mountain area, Ethiopia, man, when I was flying in Ethiopia, man, it looked like we was on a whole nother planet. You see what I'm saying? It didn't even look like planet Earth, riding through the mountains. It was just hundreds and hundreds of miles of nothing but mountains. Wasn't, and if it probably was some people out there, but damn, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't imagine it. And it probably was people all through the mountains, but you just couldn't imagine it because they were so removed from, the regular societies. You know what I'm saying? They say that certain areas in Ethiopia is as remote as Tibet. You see what I'm saying? You talking about Lalibela and all that. You is in the mountains, man, and ain't no way to get there other than a plane. You see what I'm saying? And once your ass is there, you there. Ain't no walking back or nothing. If a plane don't take your ass back to where you can't, you ain't going back. Your ass gonna be on that mountain till your ass die, unless you ready to, unless you ready to spend probably years to try to get back. It'll probably take your ass years to get back. It ain't gonna be no months. It's gonna be years to get your ass back to where you came from. So understand that and so when you look at, Egypt, and I could take you through it to show you, because when you say people come from the outside and they bring civilization with them, they're just like when the Greeks came in, when the Romans came in. They brought Serapis. Most of the deities during the time of the Greeks, they look just like any other Greek goddamn god. Serapis, you got Zeus Amon, you got the Serapis Isis, you got the Serapis Heru child, the Greek, because it looked like many of the Greek Horus deities, they look like Eros and Cupid and shit, had wings on it. So that's what I mean. If you come from somewhere else, you gonna bring something with you from where you came from. So when you look at the Greeks and you look at the Romans, it's easy to show what they brought with them, because it didn't, the Africans didn't look nothing like that. Okay, so when we talk about the zoo types, the sacred animal spirits, every animal spirit of ancient Egypt is from Africa, whether it's the hippopotamus, whether it's the lion, whether it's the crocodile, whether the cat, whether the ibis. It don't make no difference which one of them zoo types that are attributed to any god or goddess, even the damn serpent is an Egyptian cobra. Okay, so every zoo type in the animal spirits of ancient Egypt have been identified. They are indigenous African animals. So I mean, you got to show me if it came from somewhere else. Show me what you brought with you and identify the source of where you came from, so we can identify the source culture from where it came. And you cannot do that. You cannot show one major, even minor, zoo type that don't come from Africa. That's very significant. When you look at the plants, Then when you look at them columns, and you come in them columns, them temples, and you look at them columns, you look at the capitals at the top. You see the lotus, you see the papyrus, you see the palm. All of that is indigenous to Africa. So no, if you gonna say it came from somewhere else, you're gonna have to show the source culture of where it came from. Okay? Now, when you talk about America, when the motherfucking British came over, you can see here today, they Santa Claus, the Vikings. You can see all the shit that they brought with them from Britain. It's not hard when you study culture and you study that shit seriously. It's certain things that you look to first and foremost. That is like most historians, that serious historians, they're gonna focus on, because it's like fingerprints. It ain't going nowhere. Nigga, your fingerprints is your fingerprints. Motherfucker, when you put that shit down on there, is nobody else got fingerprints like you. That's just all it is to it. Okay, so when you put your shit on that and they match that shit up, nigga, and they can put that shit side, they can take it on a digital scan, nigga, and if you put your fingers, they can match that shit. You put your hand on that ink and they put that shit on there and they already got your shit in that computer and they line that shit up, nigga, your ass is going down, nigga. Period. You put your fucking handprint on something, nigga, your ass is going down because they're going to match that shit up. Is nothing in ancient Egypt that ain't African. Period. And I'm sick of motherfuckers that they show us where it's at. And they can't do it. They can't goddamn do it. And so when you talk about the pyramids, you're talking about the mountains in the interior of Africa. You can look right here, and I'm going to show you this. You can see that up, they try, because when you get down into Egypt, you don't have the mountains. You see, you don't have that. Now, if you go up into like around the Valley of the Kings, originally that's how they architecture. They was cutting into the mountains. You go to the valley, even when you look at Hatshepsut's temple at El Badari, and then you got that Abu Simbel. You see, they cut right into the mountain. If they had mountains, they would carve right into the mountains. That was and so when people want to know where even the development for the pyramids, see, they had two different types of architectural style. You see, they had where they would remove the rock or they would cut right into the mountains. You don't have to lay bricks and blocks in that type of architecture. You cut right into the mountain. And so you have to be very perfect when you're doing that. So you see a lot of them giant statues, they carve from one solid block of stone. Ain't no blocks. It's one solid block of stone. So that was the original way that they was doing, creating temples and so on and so forth. Now, when they got down into Egypt, Lower Egypt, where it was little to no mountains, then they had to start carrying in a lot of, to create the monuments that they wanted to create. But that don't mean nothing because they have been removing so much stone. When you look at some of them Valley of the Kings, you got to understand them is skyscrapers in the earth. They got 4 and 5 levels in some of them damn tombs. So they didn't cut down into and imagine moving all that stone out of there. You see what I'm saying? I went down in the heart of one of those tombs, and man, it took you at least 10 minutes to get down the shaft. And then when you get down the shaft, you is in a cavern that, man, listen here. It's like, man, you is in the center of the earth. You see what I'm saying? They didn't remove so much stone out of there to make that cavern as big as it was. I mean, listen, it was almost, man, listen here. It was almost like a half a football field carved in inside of a mountain. You see, and some of them, they got different floors. You see what I'm saying? So they continue to, so that was the way that they was carving. So when it came to the pyramid, they had been moving stone for so long. You see what I'm saying? So they were, that's where they gathered the science really to build them pyramids like that. You see what I'm saying? When you look at Lalibela and, up in Ethiopia, how they carve right down into the mountain. But when you get down into the lower Egypt on that delta, you don't have mountains. And so what they did, they duplicated the south in the north. So they brought the stone to the north to establish the pyramids. You see, but the pyramids are the mountains in the south. When you look at when you come into the temples and you see them colonnades and you look at the papyrus, those are the papyrus swamps in the Sudan. Those are the papyrus swamps, the lotus and all the lotus that is growing in them papyrus swamps. You see those, and so when you look at the temples, they are almost like a map of Africa. And as you come into the pyramid of the temple, you see, you come into the colonnade, you're going up the river because the temple is to lead you to the south. When you look at what they say about the south, they say that the south is what? The Tanetaru, the land of the gods. You see what I'm saying? The land of the gods, where all their gods come from. Okay, out of the south. So when you come into the temple, you are coming, when the first place you come into the colonnade hall and you look up, you see the papyrus, you see the lotus, you'll see, and so you're going through the swamp. Now the papyrus swamps are called the Sud region in the Sudan. You're going up the river. You see, you're going back to the interior. And then as you move through the temples, you will notice as you go deeper and deeper into the temple, the elevation will go up. You see what I'm saying? Until you get all the way into the interior of the temple, and you at the highest elevation in the temple. And in the deepest part of that temple, you will find the Holy of Holies. And in that holy, and now when you going up in elevation, that's because you're going up in elevation in Africa. As you go up the elevation in Africa, you reach what they call the Tanetaru land. And when you study, and I know it's a fact because when you study even their spirituality, they tell you that the pharaohs sailed back up the Nile, that the Milky Way and the Nile is actually one river, that the Nile is flowing from the Milky Way down to the planet. So you see that the pharaohs would have their arks and they boats right outside the pyramid, and spiritually they will take back to that ark and they will sail back up the Nile into the Milky Way to be one with the Holy Mother and Holy Father, Osiris and Isis in the Milky Way. That's the truth. We can't get away from that. That is, so when you start going up into the mountain region, you actually starting to enter heaven. You going back up into heaven. That's where you're headed. You see what I'm saying? So in the temple, they duplicate that in the temple. And when you get all the way in the interior of the temple and you study the elevation of the temple, you will see as you get to the Holy of Holies, you will see every time you go in deeper, it'll be some steps to let you know you're going up higher. And then when you go into the last area of the temple, you go up the last step, you're going into the highest elevation, which symbolically is the interior of Africa. That's where you find the Holy of Holies. That's where you will find the deity. That's where you find the deity. So the pyramids is only a duplication of the mountain regions that is in southern Africa, which is considered almost a level of heaven. You see, when you enter into the mountains, you are entering the next stage of or a lower stage of heaven before you enter the Milky Way. You see what I'm saying? So when we start breaking it down based on the information and we start looking at that's just critical. That's just critical that they look to the south, even for their heaven. They look to the Milky Way, which is to the south of Egypt. They was oriented, and even scientists is telling us now, which the Africans are, because when you look at Newt, she's the Milky Way. When you look in the sky and see, and so now after all this time, now they saying that the southern hemisphere of the galaxy is the center of the galaxy. So they was oriented to the south. They came from the south. That was their holy land because they knew that their ancestors looked to the southern hemisphere as heaven. We got to stop this. It's too much heavy information out here to prove otherwise. It's too much heavy information. You see? So we touching on some heavy shit tonight, family. The pyramids are the interior of Africa, the Holy Land, the high regions of Africa, the mountains, the pyramid, the house of fire, the volcanoes in the heart of Africa. You see, which symbolizes the four elements of creation: fire, earth, air, and water. You see, because those volcanoes are actually, when you talk about the Holy Lake region of Africa in the interior, those are mountain lakes. Those lakes are in the mountains, flowing down into Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So volcanoes are more times than not around water. And so you got the fire, which is the lava. And when that lava hit that water, it becomes steam, which is air. And when that lava cool, it becomes land. You got fire, earth, air, and water in the volcanoes. You see what I'm saying? That's the semblance of creation. Okay, so family, let's move on. We ain't done. We still rocking out tonight. This is General Cyrus Sunseti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.